Alright, so I'm going to quickly go through how a flash file is set up, just with its layers, and also how a symbol-based character is set up. So as you're doing the posing test, you know where everything lives and how it all kind of works. So we're going to start with this main area. This is how I have mine set up, with the stage over here, the timeline to the right, and properties down the bottom with a bunch of other junk here. You might have it set up differently. I'm on a laptop, so I needed the space, but it's all good. The main things we're looking at is the timeline, the stage, and the properties. So I'm just going to go through. We're in this is the file. This is the symbol posing test. So let's just have a look what we got. So first we have some text saying temp background, because the background in this particular scene is temporary. We have the HDFG, which is the high def field guide. Here we've got our registration points, action text safe, title safe, and this nice big black thing, just so we can see what's going on underneath. Audio, it doesn't matter if we have this switched off or not, it doesn't show up on the stage. This is literally just the audio from the scene. We have the animatic, which I'll give a play.
They need my help. But Robin was right. I've been using that song as a crutch. Without it, I don't have enough willpower to do anything. Even save my friends.
So that's the scene that you're going to be working on. Interesting thing, both the animatic and the high def field guide have these little, they look like hammers next to them. These are guide layers. If we right click on one of them, you can see that the guide option is selected. If you switch it off, it goes back to being a regular layer. The difference between a guide layer and a regular layer is that when we test the scene, so if we hit command and return, it'll export a flash movie.
They need my help. But Robin was right. I've been using...
You can see that neither of those layers were evident. If we switch that one back on, if we unguide it,
they need my help.
You can see that
Robin was
the
right.
registration
I've been
points
using
are
that song as a crutch.
So these layers will show up in the stage, but when exported, they don't show up. So that's why they are guided. And underneath the animatic, there is the scene layer, which has a symbol with the entire scene in it. The scene layer is where we're going to be doing all of our posing, and that's where everything goes on. So at the moment is one big symbol that completely moves with the background, the characters, the foreground, all of it. To go into a symbol, we double click on it. We are now inside the symbol. Up here you can see this is the root of the stage. By double clicking, we are now one level deep inside the scene symbol, and you can keep track of it up along the top here. So inside the scene symbol, we have again the audio. We have the console in front. We have Cyborg, who's this character, and then we have the background, which is a JPEG. Over here next to the lock. Lock means it's locked. It's like Photoshop. If it's locked, it means you can't move it. So I can't, for example, move this console. The background isn't showing up because it's outlined. These boxes here, if you click on them, turn everything into an outline. It really helps for just seeing through stuff and seeing where your symbols are. And if we outline that, we can see that it's a JPEG background. Because if we zoom in enough, it is pixelated and gross. So, console is locked and background is locked. So we're just really focusing on Cyborg. Funnily enough, you're not going to be doing much in this layer of the symbol. This is pretty set up, I guess. But you will go inside Cyborg. So we're going to go another layer deep. So we got scene, we got symbol, and we got Cyborg. And here, again, we have the audio.
They need my help. But Robin was right.
But we have each of the layers is a different part of his body. Now, though this is a symbol-based posing test, you will have to be doing some redraw, especially on things like the inside of his arms here. His hands will possibly be redrawn. All this is pretty much, well, all his legs are going to be hidden behind the console, so you don't have to worry about them. Now, if we go inside, say, his cauldron, his shoulder thing. If we go inside his shoulder thing, we can see that there is a bunch of different instances already in here. The same with his gauntlets. There is all kinds of rotational information in here that has already been done. And I think his hands, yeah, his hands have a bunch of stock hands, which is good. If you can't find a hand that works, find one that looks like this. This is both one excellent reuse and two excellent reference for redrawing hands. Now, if we look down here, we'll see that if we click on, say, the gauntlet, we've got it set to single frame, and the first one is 7. If we go inside here, we'll see if we scrub to frame 7, that is the one that we have. His gauntlet has a pattern on it that is masked by a mask. Jim Carrey is the mask layer, and on there it's that big blob of green. And then we have a highlight, which, as you can see, extends past the mask, and we have a pattern. And when they are all switched on and all locked, then the mask shows up. As I said, we're in on frame 7, so that's the frame. Because it's set to single frame, that instance will stay like that for the entire thing, unless we change it. If we scrub over here and go insert keyframe by right-clicking, I think you can also hit F6. Yes, F6. It also makes a keyframe. We can then select that and say frame 8. There we go. So by setting it to frame 8, that is now a different instance of that symbol, because there's the library inside it. And the same thing we can do with hands. We can go in, we can go insert keyframe and say 15. There we go. And then you have to put down the keyframe to move things as well. There we go. That is just lovely animation there. Quality with a K. If you can highlight these and go right-click, clear keyframe to clear it as well. I think even his torso has a bunch of different angles to use. Where it gets a little different, a little complicated, is inside his head. As you know from this scene, he is talking a lot, which means that his mouth is going to have to be changed in time. And that's not something we do on this timeline. If we go one layer deep again, we are now in scene, symbol, cyborg, 3/4 head comp, where again, we have an audio layer, but we've also got each of the individual, if we unlock them, each of the individual pieces of his head. His head also acts as a mask. There, this one isn't green, this one is just his head color, that masks out his chin pieces and such. And again, in here, if we go again another level deep, you can see that there is blinks already in here, and his eyebrows have a couple of different states. So if we go to scene frame 25, you can select everything, and then right-click, insert keyframe to set keyframes just down along everything on frame 25. And then we'll move his pupil, move his eyebrows up, and yeah, that'll do. That's on frame 25. If we go back out to the cyborg level, and we scrub along, boom, frame 25 is where that hits. And that's because this keyframe here is set to play once and set to the first frame. So that means that frame 1 correlates with frame 1 inside the head, and so on and so forth. So once we get to 25, that happens. If we go back inside, we can see that's where that happens. One level deeper, his mouth. This is his mouth comp. If we go inside his mouth comp, we now have again the audio, and we have one called sad, one called big happy, and one called big sad, and one called happy. That's because inside here, this is where his lip sync lives, and it's all masked and stuff. So let's go back to frame 25 again. Insert keyframe, and then we can go through and frame 6. So that is the mouth on frame 6. 6. There we go. And so everything's masked. So inside the mouth, you set the keyframe to that for that pose on frame 25. We go back out, and then that's when that activates, because again the mouth is set to play once first, and whenever you stick down a keyframe, that will now be play once 25. So it correlates. Be careful. Sometimes if we put a keyframe down and then moved it, this still stays as 25. But it's not 25 anymore. We're on frame 19. So you would have to go in and correct 19, then it'll be normal, and then it'll still activate over at 25. So the head and the mouth symbols need to sync up with the main timeline. Otherwise, it'll become just a crazy mess. Luckily, that's as deep as we go. Inside the mouth comp is as deep as we go. It's, 4 levels deep? And this can be a little intimidating, but once you get the hang of it, it's fun. So that is the different layers and the way that the character is set up with symbols. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Hope you're having a nice day.